man. But I'm gonna ask you. I think I asked you this before. If a team, we got a problem up here. Our coaching cost us 5 games, right?
Mm-hmm.
No, 4. We lost 4 games in a row by a total of 5 points. Who did you put that on? 5 points. Oh, and all of them been in the last 2 minutes of the game. This shit is unheard of. You lose.
Well, because that of course goes on coaching. Because if you lose that close and down the stretch of the game, that comes down to play calling and execution. Mm-hmm. It's execution. And why you can't execute? Because that goes back to, you know what I'm saying? You play calling. I mean, they're going to blame the coach. Man. I mean, they're going to fire the coach before they fire the player.
Oh, shit. The coach up here, John, the coach up here, Kyle Rittenstadts. John Harbaugh, Kyle Rittenstadts. The media is not holding the coach accountable for losing 4 games in a row by 5 points. It's unheard of. Jim Caldwell got fired for less.
Media can take a shot all they want, but guess what? The owner and the executive is going to make that call, and they know the truth. You know what I'm saying? Like, the media can say one thing, but the executives and the check writers are going to feel another.
But the excuse up here is getting the team been decimated by injuries. That shouldn't make a difference when you started 8-3. Shout out to Brandon. I got this. I'm asking this question for you. This is my homeboy on Twitter. He said the coach, John Harbaugh, started 8-3. He got the 8-4 with Lamar Jackson till Lamar Jackson got hurt and he ain't never won another game.
Well, begin. So that's what I'm saying. So that telling you that you done schemed everything around one player.
Right.
You shouldn't do that.
But it's also what you said in the previous interview that Lamar Jackson's skill set is exposing the coach and the general manager.
Thank you.
But nobody want to hear it. Nobody want to hear the truth. I'm glad you're a former NFL player saying that.
Yeah. I mean, think about it. When you can't see, because you got to understand, you can't use, well, my star player got injured excuse and while we went on this 4 or 5 game skid. Because, again, this is the ultimate team sport. One man don't make or break a team. You know what I'm saying? I mean, when I was playing, if Ray Lewis would have got hurt, the show must go on, baby. We still got to stop him on defense. We just don't have our leader.
And the coach, and that's the excuse they're giving him. Well, he ain't have his franchise player, so he's losing without his major player. I'm like, no, you played to win the game. You was losing by 1 or 2 points.
So we're going to stop the season. So the game's going to say postpone until Jackson gets healthy. I mean, what we doing? I mean, so that's no excuse. You know, you still got to execute. You still got to win games. In fact, that makes a coach when you lose that player and you still winning games.
But the media up here shooting them bail. This is what they're saying. Well, he got the team prepared to play, and they play tough in the game. But I'm just like, it's all about wins. That's the only stat that matters.
Watch this. You know what makes Bill Belichick the greatest coach of all time? Because he lost Tom Brady them years when he had, what was that one quarterback? He had Jimmy Garoppolo was one of them. But what was that? Matt Castle.
Yeah, Matt Castle.
Winning games when Matt Castle was under center. To the point where Matt Castle got thrown a bag to go play in Minnesota. So what does that say about that coach when you lose the greatest quarterback of all time in Tom Brady? Matt Castle, you implement Matt Castle and the show that you still steamrolling. The Patriots still won a division. They still made a deep run in the playoffs, and Matt Castle got paid.
And look what he's
down again, huh?
Well, look what he's doing this year at the Cam. He got an injured Cam. He didn't go to the playoffs last year, but he's fighting for the goddamn home field advantage this year with a rookie quarterback.
With a rookie quarterback. So if and that's what the Ravens ownership is going to say. If Bill was able to do this with that, then what's your excuse for losing your star player?
But Bill Belichick won a football game in the NFL, passed the ball 3 times and ran the ball 47. But we shooting a coach bail that's losing games by 1 point.
Because you know what that is? That's come down to great game planning. That's what great coaches do. Great game planning. Because guess what? Just in case I lose this, I can make some adjustments to where the show still will go on. You know what I'm saying? The coach is only a coach. Now it's time to coach when you lose your star player. Look, I mean, I ain't changing the subject, but if you look at the NBA Finals, when they lost Kevin Durant, that exposed Steve Kerr as a coach.
Exactly.
Nick Nurse took him to school.
Right.
You lost Kevin Durant.
We got to calm it. That's how Darren Sproles and Mike Turner got on. They came through when Thompson got hurt. Exactly. It was next man up. Everybody talk about how decimated this team is, but you're losing close games.
Man, listen, that coach becomes a star coach when his back is against the wall. It's the guy that can do the most with the less.
I'm going to tell you something. Ain't nobody saying John Harbaugh about to be one of the highest paid coaches this summer, and he's losing games like this. It been every loss in the last 15 years of the Ravens since he's been here. He's losing it on bad football IQ. Watch
this. We went to the Super Bowl in 2003.
Okay.
2004, we were decimated with injuries.
Okay.
E. Smith, home opener. We lose Chris Jenkins, our all-pro defensive tackle. We lose him for the season. Right. We are decimated with injuries. We went 7-9, and we were still in the hunt for the playoffs. We full of backup play. I'm playing a lot. I'm starting some games. We were still competitive at 7-9, and we just missed the wild card by one game because Andy Reid threw a game because he didn't want to see us in the playoffs again.
Oh, shit.
Yeah, he purposely threw a game not to see it in the playoffs because he knew that would knock us out. He would rather play the Saints than us.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? But every game, them 9 games we lost were all competitive games. So what does that say about the coach?
Hey.
Team full of backups, every game is competitive.
Right. He just kidding. But like you said, Andy Reid cost y'all not going in the playoffs.
Right.
But and speaking of Andy Reid, I asked everybody this question on my show for the last 4 weeks. John Harbaugh is a disciple of Andy Reid. He don't have no football IQ and clock management and time. And when it comes to timeouts, he's terrible. Mm-hmm. Now, if you're a disciple of one of the greatest offensive minds in the NFL, but your team is struggling offensively, what the hell did you pick up under 7 years under this man?
Just riding the coattail.
But he's getting a pad. I don't understand why the media ain't putting this man's feet to the fire, yo.
That tell you was just sitting there going along for the ride instead of just sitting down, you know. And I'm not saying that Harbaugh was going for the ride, along for the ride, but I mean, think about this for a second. You said Andy Reid,
right?
Andy Reid, along with John Gruden, along with John Gruden at the time was like a quality control guy,
right?
Andy Reid, Shanahan, Mike Holmgren, Dennis Green, Brian Billick, all were under that not George Seibert, but Bill Walsh coaching. Right. They all was 49ers coaches.
Right.
When the Niners went on that run. Imagine that coaching staff, all offensive coaches.
Right.
Okay. Mind you, Mike Holmgren. Andy Reid came from under Mike Holmgren.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? And John Gruden, that's where that West Coast system came from. Shanahan and all them.
But you see how all of them soaked up games from the GOAT. And this dude was a special team coach and a defensive back coach, but you still got one of the best offensive minds right there as your OG, and you his understudy, but you didn't pick up nothing offensively from him. I don't get it.
Some cats just went along for the ride, man. Some cats.
But how can a coach last this long in the NFL with under 500 record?
Well, you got to understand, he it's that honeymoon. Because let's be honest. I mean, the Ravens is still relevant throughout all these years. He's kept them relevant. He's a Super Bowl winning coach. I mean, it is what it is. He's a Super Bowl winning coach. And he always kept the Ravens relevant. They always been at the top of the division. Or either if they ain't at the top of the division, they've been competing for the top of the division. So,
these white folks here love him. He's Kyle Rittenhouse status. He ain't going away.
That's what I'm saying. So he's making a case. He's making it hard to like pull that plug, but at what point are you gonna look at this dynamic talent in Lamar Jackson and say, "Hey, we gotta put something around him, and we gotta win now with this kid. Like, and we gotta ride it while we gotta win with it."
I was going back and forth with a dude on Twitter yesterday. he was like, it's not the coach's fault. It's the offensive coordinator's fault. But I was like, the offensive coordinator is a representation of the coach. So they tied out their hip.
How many?
So how the fuck is not his fault?
How many assistants you gonna fire before you look at the head coach?
Oh, the goddamn offensive coordinator put up 6 points in the NFL game, in the playoff game. 6 points. That's unheard of in this NFL.
Well, think about it. Well, if your offensive coordinator is so bad, then guess what? That's still gonna go on your coach because your coach got to manage your bad offensive coordinator. He got to manage that. Think about it. I'm gonna give you some nuggets right here. When Mike Turkovac didn't call a good defense, I've seen instances where John Fox said, "Man, give me that damn play call. I'm calling the game. You sucking ass right now." And I've seen John Fox do that. Right. I've seen Brian Billick told Matt Cavanaugh, "Hey man, get this shit right. You fucking up right now." Because Brian Billick was an offensive guru.
Exactly.
You know what I'm saying? So he looking at Cavanaugh like, "You gotta get this shit right. We ain't moving the damn ball."
Right.
There's only so much our defense can do.
I just don't get it. You under Andy Reid and your offense is sputtering. It's like, yo, my man said something. He don't want to be looked at as an Andy Reid disciple because he won the Super Bowl. But at some point in time, you got to own it.
You always going to be looked at as a certain coach's disciple. It is what it is. Like Andy Reid is always going to be looked at as Mike Holmgren's disciple when they was in Green Bay. Mike Holmgren is always going to be looked at as not George Seaver, but I forgot, I'm blanking on his name.
Bill Walsh.
Yeah, Bill Walsh. He's always going to be a Bill Walsh. Andy Reid is going to be a Bill Walsh. All these guys are going to be Bill Walsh disciples, just like Bill Belichick is always going to be a Bill Parcells disciple.
But it's like, goddamn, you losing the game on bad management, and it's always one or two calls. Now, I shoot him some bail on the last game because he had a backup quarterback, and the offensive line here is terrible, and the offensive line can't block nobody.
Matter that still, again, when you lose close games, it comes down to end of the game execution. That goes back on the coach. Hey, what are you doing? And like, you can't lose these. You listen, them close games that you lose hurt, man. They hurt. They really hurt, man. Like, especially if it's something that you could have done about it. Like, why you think?
In the last 4 games, all you had to do is play sound football and play to your strengths. Mm-hmm. That's it.
Yeah.
He got the best kicker in the history of football. The defense has held Aaron Rodgers to 31 points, and you had the momentum, and the stadium was rocking. I had my man down there. We was in the Black Sports Center. I got to send you the link. Yo, it was crazy. And I'm like, you blew it. You blew it at home by going for a 2-point conversion when you need to, because you had the crowd, you had the momentum. Mm-hmm. You played like you was on the road, but by going for a 2-point conversion with a minute to go, with 47 seconds to go.
Yeah, man. It just comes down, like I said, man. It just comes down to coaching and execution, and execution comes down to coaching. So, I mean, you got to play disciplined football to be in order to execute. So all that falls on your management, man. So he got to eat that, and if you keep knocking on that door, like I said, with this dynamic talent and this player that you got, because let's just be for real, man. His contract is going to be up this year, right? Or next year?
Next year, but he about to get that extension. You got to think. Great organization is conservative, man. He's getting paid off of what he's doing for Lamar, and they winning.
I think Dak Prescott is getting somewhere in the neighborhood of, $40 million a year?
40.
This joker is going to look to get more than Dak. They're going to get his kid about damn near $50 million a year, man. He's looking, mark my words, he's looking for Pat Mahomes' money.
Right. And it's like I said at the beginning of the season, Lamar Jackson each year is good for 8 and 9 wins by itself. Mm-hmm. The coaching always costs us 3 to 4 games a year since the boy been here, besides 2019. I put as a video last week, the Ravens will find a way to lose a game with this coach. I never seen nothing like this. I never seen a coach that will find a way to lose a game.
It's just don't like it ain't that they finding a way to lose a game.
No, not like this, not like this, yo.
I'm gonna put it like this, man. It's like, again, he just failing to put together a plan to say, hey, man, because we got to put these teams away. And again, that comes down to your discipline. Like a good team, your championship teams know how to put teams away. When you up 5 late in the fourth quarter, hey man, we got to execute to put the nail in the coffin. Bye-bye. It's time to go home. The only thing you beating right now is traffic. Okay? Like it got to be, that's the culture that you have to set. That's the mindset that you have to set as a manager. You know what I'm saying? So if you can't, you know what I'm saying, execute and you can't put games away, that's telling that's telling me that your player's not even focused. So that goes to show that the lack of respect that they pretty much have for that manager.
Now hear me out. Have you ever been on a team where the coach deferred to his players in situational football?
Depending on like you know, the veterans on the team, like I've been on like teams to where because a lot of times the coach is gonna trust the players depending on who that player is. If he's a veteran,
right,
savvy veteran that's been in the league 10 years and hey, this dude and been there, done that, that coach is gonna say, hey man, what do you think is best in the situation? And that player is gonna tell him, like, hey, man, and you know, this is what we gonna do. And see, that's what good managers do. He know how to pretty much share that and say, look, yeah, now's the time to defer. But then if you got a young team that's saying, like, okay, I'm trying to build something, I can't right now to defer to this kid because he hasn't been in this situation. You know,
now this Raven team is decimated by injuries. Everybody give him a cop out for the injuries. Now it was 3 straight times. John Harbaugh went to the sidelines and asked. Well, I give Lamar Jackson benefit of the doubt because he's a star quarterback. But one game, he went to the sidelines and asked everybody, y'all want to go for the 2 points? Y'all want to go for the 2 points? You the fucking coach.
Yeah, you supposed to decide that yourself. You know what I'm saying? Like, it ain't that. No, you don't ask your players, do we want to go for 2? You know what I'm saying?
Right.
You say, hey, when you score that touchdown, I'm pointing them fingers up like this. Like, I'm singling in, nah, we going for 2.
That right there show me you ain't sure yourself.
Well, because think about it. As a player, you always going to want to go for 2 because like Herm Edwards, you know, famously put it, you play to win the game. You
so
know,
it's a cop-out.
Yeah, if you don't ask your player to, the mindset, we ain't kicking no field goal. We want to go for 2.
Right.
We ain't gonna be like, no, man, no, we plan to win. You know what I'm saying?
Well, he's saving his ass, but he's also looking like a player coach.
Well, I don't think he's a player coach, in my opinion. You know what I'm saying? But again, I don't know Harbaugh.
You know how the media is here. It's a one radio station town. It's a one newspaper town. They're not going to question it. He's a player coach.
Well, I mean, and that's what I'm saying. Like, because
on the outside looking into the casual football fan, he's a player coach.
Okay, watch this. You would know it. You would know it if he got him in a back pocket, depending on how many interviews do he grant that newspaper or that radio show? He grants them interviews?
No, it's only the after game press conference and the press conference Tuesday.
But they get to ask him the questions though, right?
Yeah. It ain't nothing. Everything is a softball ass question here.
Right.
The radio station scripted here. The same callers calling every day. Right. I tried to call. I said, I stopped. I said, okay, this shit's scripted. I told my own. I said, oh, this shit's scripted. I said, it's the same people keep calling, and there's never no new call.
Yeah, I mean, the thing is, you know, they're going to always kiss his ass because, yeah, they get to ask him the questions. They get access to him after the game. And, you know, because you got to think about it. When players and coaches take the podium, media outlets, they beat each other trying to ask that question. They trying to get a soundbite. And if they soundbite, they lose. They don't eat.
But it's to the point, they even got certain podcast motherfuckers here under the pocket. That's why I don't never do a video with no Raven gear on. Mm-hmm. Nah, I don't work for y'all.
But that podcast might be brought to you by Raven.
I already know. Because dude be walking around with jerseys and shit that nobody got in the city, but he got everybody fooled because he interviewed a couple of Raven players.
Yeah.
So I was like, yo, this shit is phone. That's why I say, let me just step in and see if I can get me a little niche in the crowd. You feel me?
Get immediate access to that coach. You know what I'm saying? That player.
That's punk shit. It's like, it's cool. they like the team, but goddamn, you ain't got to go along to get along with the team. You feel me?
About this, let me think about this. Watch, it was a first take debate when they I don't know if they call it first take or first and 10. Well, I think it was first take when Nelly was debating with Steve Smith and Skip Bayless, Stephen A. Smith.
Okay.
And Nelly was like, "Of course you ain't gonna," because see, Nelly threw something in there to kind of piss Stephen A. Smith off, but Nelly was like,
about LeBron, right?
"Yeah, he's like, of course you ain't gonna go at him like that because you want an interview,
right?
You gonna jeopardize your next interview."
Skip did that with Chris Massaw. Chris Massaw was heated.
Yeah, but you know what? Skip was right in that situation. You know, like you ain't trying to jeopardize your next interview. And see, Skip Bayless is right because Skip Bayless, that man been a journalist for longer than I've been alive.
Yeah, man.
He know the game. He know what's up. So
right.
I mean, and to be honest with you, so yeah, they're gonna tailor made to these. They ain't gonna talk shit about certain athletes because they want that exclusive. Like Rachel Nichols, boy, I guarantee you she know every, not throw no diss at Rachel Nichols, but I guarantee you she know what flavor LeBron balls is.
Right. That's why Kwame Brown called out.
Yeah. That's why she got mad at that black woman because you know more LeBron interviews. You ain't eating no more.
But that was her sense of entitlement, and the girl, she moved on to NBC. She played the game right.
Ain't no more.
I'm calling you out and got another job.
Ain't no more eating for Rachel Nichols now. You ain't eating no more. Them player exclusives, nah, you ain't getting that no more.
Right. I'm on the bigger network, and I'm the face of it.
Yeah.
Calling the number one sport in the world, NFL.
So, of course, they're going to be tailor-made to all these athletes, certain athletes or certain coaches because they don't want to get cut out the cookie jar because that's what keep their revenue stream going. Like, can I get this breaking? Can I get this interview right here? You know what I'm saying?
Where is the constructive journalism, though? Oh, it's like this. Up here, they treating Lamar Jackson like Eddie Murray, a guy that's 41-11 as a starting quarterback.
Mm-hmm.
Y'all trying to run him out of town like Eddie Murray.
Well, because again, they don't believe in the type of talent of Lamar Jackson. But then you also know what that's about too. You know what I'm saying? But again, like they know that bag is coming. They know
you got a coach that can't win without him.
But watch this though. But watch what this is going to do ultimately. See, you got to think the bigger the bag Lamar Jackson gets, the more of a bullseye is going to put on Harbaugh to win now. Because we giving this dude $50+ million a year, you better win now. I ain't talking about, no, baby, we better get to the bowl.
Hey, we wasting this young boy prime.
Yeah.
We wasting his prime.
Yeah.
But once again, it ain't just Harbaugh either. Oh, how long does it take a GM to get the offensive line right? He been here 3 years.
Hey, listen. You see how fast the Atlanta Falcons got rid of Dan Reeves when they had
Right.
Remember, Dan Reeves was the first coach. And remember, Dan Reeves was respected. You was coaching John Elway.
But I think by them getting rid of Dan Reeves was a bigger problem. They should have kept him.
Well, because they knew like Jim Moore Jr. and because they knew Jim Moore Jr. was younger. They knew Jim Moore Jr. was more energetic. He was a fresh face, and they felt like Dan Reeves was pretty much handcuffed.
But he didn't have no coaching experience, and he got the job off his daddy name.
He didn't. But at that time, Arthur Blank, he felt that vibe of that city, Atlanta,
right.
Black city. The vibe was like new, young, Mike Vick is this new young black talent, something the NFL ain't seen before at that time. This pre-Lamar Jackson now. Michael Vick, something that they never seen.
But this is history repeating itself because we've seen the same fucking thing with Lamar Jackson.
And that's what's gonna happen. I just think in due time, I think once Lamar Jackson get that, watch what's going to happen. Once Lamar Jackson gets that contract, it's going to put immediate pressure on. Talking about colossal pressure on Jim Harbaugh because.
But Lamar's in the best spot right now for him to be the diva because he ain't got the bag yet. He can be like, look, I can hold out, see how this O-line work and this coaching group staff work, and I might not sign it long term.
No, that's not even it's not an option. No, they talking about the bag he's gonna get right now.
Right.
It ain't gonna be no holdout. Listen, you're gonna get this, You're going to get more than this guy. He already know how much he making.
Right.
Barring, a career-ending injury, knock wood and God.
Oh, no, we ain't going to talk about that.
But they're already talking about the man. Trust me when I tell you, fam. They talking about the money with his representatives right now.
Right. Especially while he's down. He in the driver's seat. Y'all haven't won the game without me.
Right.
The offense is moving without him but you got another prototypical guy in it.
You're seeing why he's the league MVP.
Exactly.
Okay, come on, man. You talking about what was his second year in the league? He won league MVP?
33 touchdowns. That's the NFL touchdowns, man.
Listen, man, Matt, you talking about the first Madden-created player to ever play a real live football game, man. Listen, Matt, that man is getting north of 50 million because I think Pat Mahomes is making.
He got like 60. He got like 60.
I think he might get just as much, if not more, than Pat. I think
he's gonna get more Pat short term. Pat got like a 10-year deal. He's gonna get more than Pat short term.
You look for Lamar to get something similar.
I know it. But if he was smart, he wouldn't sign nothing over 5 years. Just looking at this coaching staff.
Man, listen. I think I told you in this live last time we went live. Listen.
He gonna die here.
Thank you. He got his tombstone right next to Edgar Allan Poe.
Yes, sir.
You know what I'm saying? Trust me. They gonna bury his ass here.
And once again, I'm going back to the coaching. Oh, it's no way I just seen Jim Caldwell get fired for a winning record. This dude is losing games by 5 points in 4 games. And he's not being accountable.
You know that's protection for the complexion all day, baby. You know
exactly. Lamar threw 4 interceptions in the game and won. Y'all hopped on that for 2 goddamn weeks, but he won.
Mm-hmm.
But he ain't win the way he wanted to win, but he won. But you got the coach lost 4 games by 5 points. And everything gets, the injuries this. He's not playing with this one. He's not playing with that one. But y'all was competitive in the game.
Yeah.
It's like this. You can't make me a crab cake without obey. You can't make the batter. You can't make the crab cake and don't put no seasoning on it, man. That's what the Ravens doing. You playing hard all the way up to the last 2 minutes of the game, but you ain't coming out with a win.
And that's what I'm saying. That comes down, again, when you can't execute towards the end of the game, that goes to coaching automatically. You can't execute down the stretch. They're asking the coaches why we can't execute down the stretch. What are you doing? What's wrong with the execution? Because, again, if you're not executing right, then the play calling got to be questioned.
And the coach is the biggest overseer of the football team, offense and defenses. Mm-hmm. So something he ain't doing right, they're getting his staff together and like, what are we doing wrong?
You can't put them away. That goes to coaching. It ain't the players. It's gonna go to coaching. You can't seal the deal.
But goddamn, 4 straight games he ain't learned from the first game.
That's enough to get you fired. But trust me,